I'm Christine. Welcome to Book Talk. Today we are discussing A Torch Against the Night by SABAA TAHIR. Oh my god. I'm so excited I finished Torch Against the Night. Like, you don't even know. This just came out. I'm done already. They flew through it. It was amazing. A Torch Against the Night is the second book in SABAA TAHIR's An Ember in the Ashes series. She just got signed on for 2 more books, which is really exciting. It's a fantasy series, and there's a lot going on. Now there will be more books and more time for her
to tell her story.
So when I read An Ember in the Ashes, I read parts of it by reading it, but then I read a lot of it with the audiobook, which was amazing, okay? So I had A Torch Against the Night early, and I started it, and I got 50 pages in, but like, I was dying for the audiobook. So as soon as the clock struck midnight on August 30th, I downloaded the audiobook, and once I had that baby, there was no stopping me from finishing this book. Don't stop me now. I stopped editing the other day and went out to get Starbucks so I could listen to A Torch Against the Night, and then I drove around for 20 minutes afterward because I didn't want to stop listening to A Torch Against the Night. The audiobook is so good. If you don't know already, I'm an Audible affiliate, and if you sign up for Audible using my link, you get your first book for free. Anyway, A Torch Against the Night was so good. I don't know if I liked it more than the first book or not. I feel like it was better than the first book, but it's better because we had the first book and she already laid the groundwork for this world. We jumped right into it. I opened the first chapter up in the shower because that's where I started reading it. It's where I start most of my books, actually. And I didn't want to put it down, but I had to because I had to eventually shower. There's not much else I can tell you because this is the second book in a series. I definitely give the book 5 out of 5 stars, 95% on the percent scale. It was real good. The only thing missing from this book is SABAA's big face on the back. I miss it. If you haven't read the book yet now, goodbye. It's time to say our goodbyes. Go read it and come back and we can discuss it together, okay? Goodbye, my lover. Goodbye, my friend. See you when you finish the book. Okay, don't stay. Is this how armlets are supposed to go? I'm trying to figure out this armlet. Is this how Laya wears her armlet? This, or is it like on her bicep? This can't fit on my bicep. It doesn't like cling to my wrist though. It's like too wide. How does one wear armlet? How armlet work? Is it like fitted to her arm so it doesn't wobble around? Is there like a lock? Okay, so the spoilers are coming now. I'll leave again. You gone yet? Good. Let's talk about Laya's armlet. Oh, my fear. My fear in this whole book was that her powers were somehow connected to the armlet. And the armlet does have powers. The armlet protects whoever has ever worn it or touched it from the jinns, it appears, or like the jinn magic. It's hard to kill you once you've possessed this. So that brings me back to, how did Laya's mom die? Who the hell is Laya's mom? We're all curious as to if it's Cook, right? Cook in this book was this creepy effing witch woman who just appears out of nowhere. The first time she crept up on Helene, she just appeared out of nowhere, like from a tree. And she's this like creepy, crumpled over, scarred woman. And Helene's like, oh, I recognize her. It's Cook. I was like, what the did not see that coming. I had all these theories about Cook in the previous book, rhyming, about how she's related to Laya because it feels like they're connected, but it didn't feel like she was her mom. I was theorizing that Laya's father had an affair with her, that she was her grandma or something. I don't know who she is, but I feel like she's related. She's too protective to not be related. But then there's the mystery of Laya's brother has blonde hair and fair skin. Laya has dark hair and gold skin and gold eyes, and it sounds like her brother looks like a Ken doll. What, are they from the same parents? So this means that one of their parents looks like a Ken doll or Barbie, and the other parent looks like a warrior princess. But maybe he's adopted or she's adopted because apparently their parents were nice enough to just adopt random redheads off the street who were actually jinns looking to bring down their entire race of people to get revenge for those people, banishing them from the human world. It's intricate. I want to know who their father is. I want to know who Elias's father is. Elias's half-brother is Harper, who has like 50 names in the book, so I kept getting confused. He's also Abysses or something. What is his second name? name? Albatross and Harper and the Northman. Can we settle on one name, please? I'm going crazy over here. Oh, Avitas. Oh, I kept thinking it was Albatross. Avitas Harper. So we have this Avitas Harper who interrogates Helene in the beginning. I felt so bad for poor Helene. Albatross interrogates her, and then he ends up being her right-hand man. He starts off as a spy for the Commandant. But at the end, we learn Albatross is Elias's half-brother, and he only wanted to come and be this close to Helene so he could learn about his half-brother, because they're from the same father, and their father was good. Who the fudge was their daddy? He's dead, apparently, but I don't believe anyone's dead. Like, I don't believe Lia's parents are completely dead. I don't believe anything, okay? I don't believe the dad is dead. Who knows what happened to him? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the Commandant actually killed his dad. That's probably what happened. Oh, that bitch. Who do you identify most with? Like, are you a Lia? Are you an Elias? Or are you a Helene? I feel like you're one of them. And I definitely, when I was reading A Torch Against the Night, I felt more for Helene. Her whole plight with Elias. I just want you guys to be friends. I hate this. That moment where she finds him and she starts to get trampled because Elias's fake mom, Mamrie, started a riot. And he saves her and brings her out into this alley. And they have this moment where it's like fight or flight. Elias just says, I miss you and I will always miss you. And what he's really saying is, I love you, BFF forever. Please stop doing this and abandon the Empire and just help me. And in that moment, we know already Elias has been poisoned with this 6-month death serum that will just give you seizures till you'll die. And we know Helene has this ability to sing you back to health. It's a very interesting take on a healing power. She has to sing and take on their essence, and she takes on their wound to an extent. She then is connected to that person that she's healed. She's protective. She becomes like this mama bear. Elias is right there. She knows something's wrong. She could have healed him the whole time. I'm like, oh my God, can we just go see Helene and get her to heal him? And I know he doesn't know that she can heal at that point, right? But Lia does. Why didn't she ever think, oh, maybe we should talk to Helene? I know she's trying to kill you, but like, she was your best friend and she'd probably heal you and let you go because she's also in love with you. I was so frustrated. And then at the end when Elias was like, I'm dead. No, you're not. Don't you even volunteer to take that soul catcher's place. And then he does, and the soul, I knew she wanted him to take the place. I knew it. I called it. I was waiting. I was like, she wants him to be her. And then he just volunteers, and I was like, Elias, no, you have a friend who magically heals people. Why are we doing this? Now you're stuck, chained to some prison world, carrying souls to the other side like Bonnie from the Vampire Diaries. And this ain't the Vampire Diaries. There's not like 10 million loopholes. I'm sure there'll be one, but it's gonna be hard to find it. We cannot end like this. Elias cannot be a soul catcher forever. If you're future Christine and you don't understand what's going on with Elias, there's this whole soul catcher realm, the in-between, where before you move on, if you're upset and you're not ready to move on, you're like a ghost in this in-between world, your soul flying around. The soul catcher helps you move from one place to the other, and the soul catcher is a djinn. We learned about djinns kind of in the first book, and now they're like cropping up around and around. The whole djinn thing is a little confusing. Like, djinns were a species that were dangerous because they were more powerful than humans, but they weren't evil. But now they've been in jail forever and banished. This is a piece of a weapon that the scholars used to banish away the djinns. And you have to get all those pieces back together to unbanish them. And that is what Evil Nightbringer Djinn / Kanan has been working towards. That is why he gets so close to Lia. He wants the stupid thing, but you can't just take it, you have to be given it. The whole idea with Kanan, did you see Kanan coming as evil? I mean, we only saw it because everyone was like, oh, there's something about him I don't like. And I couldn't see what it was. Like, we didn't really see what we didn't like about Kanan because he just seemed like this stubborn, kind of annoying boy who liked Lia. We didn't see any darkness in him really, except that he was jealous of Elias, and I think he had a right to be jealous of Elias. Something's off is what I kept hearing. And I was like, what's off though? What is it? When they showed up, him and Izzy, I got so excited because I love Izzy, and I thought it was gonna be super fun and dramatic to have all the gang back together traveling as one. It really wasn't. I could have done without Kanan. When I found out that Kanan was the djinn at the end, I was just like, ew, you had sex with that. Ew, Ew. But I guess he's been Keenan since Keenan was like a baby. He just whirled himself up into a 3-year-old to start young, creep his way into the scholars. I was talking about Helene and I got so off topic. I love Helene. I feel so bad for her just consistently. I just want her to abandon the Empire and be with Elias. And I do ship Elia with Elias, but I also ship Helene with Elias. I feel like Helene and Albatross may be like an eventual connection. He's like Elias. He's Elias's brother. We also learned from Helene, Elias and Lia are counter song. Their rhythms, their auras are each other's counterpart. I don't think Helene has a chance with Elias. He just wants to be friends. It's upsetting. And I feel for her so hard. It's so sad. I absolutely love the passage where she goes to the caves to talk to the augurs. Marcus threatens her family if she doesn't come back with Elias and perform his public execution. Of course, the augurs are cryptic AF. That's the way they roll. We didn't learn more about the augurs, and I'm still really curious about them. How did they come to be? Who is that woman augur? There's still so many mysteries. Is that Elias' mom? Is Elias' dad one of the augurs? That's another thing. Who is Cain? Why is he helping them? I feel like Cain is just like, he's a little too personable for an augur. I want to know more about them. Helene's like, just tell me what's gonna happen, please. I need to know. He's like, you are gonna be broken and then you are gonna rise from those ashes and be freaking amazing if you survive this. And he confuses her by saying there's more to this life than love, Helene Aquila. There is duty, empire, family, gens, the men you lead, the promises you make. Your father knows this, so will you before the end. She's thinking like there's more to my life, I guess, than Elias. He's a sacrifice that must be made. My family's gonna be fine because he's like, there's family. And then of course, it's not the way it happens. This is where we see the torch against the night. Most people are nothing but glimmers in the great darkness of time, but you, Helene Aquila, are no swift burning spark. You are a torch against the night if you dare to let yourself burn. Oh, she's an inferno against the universe. Is that the name of book 3? Do we think Lia or Elias was an ember in the No, Lia was an ember in the ashes. She's not like an inferno yet. And now, what will Elias be? I feel like he's like a steady fire in the fireplace. Book 3! A steady fire in the fireplace. He's not anything in anything. He's just always there. He's a rock, the soul catcher, the light bulb that never goes out in the soul catcher realm. Will book 4 be the finale? I wonder how many books SABAA has planned. They're signed on for 4, but that doesn't mean that she only has 4 in her brain. Maybe there's 6. Who knows? I want Marcus to change. I want him to evolve into a good human. And he talks to himself all the time, so we're led to believe that he's maybe haunted by the ghost of his brother Zach. Maybe he has an ability now. The efforts touching people keep awakening abilities, because apparently when that effort touched Lia in the basement, it awakened this disappearing ability. Oh yeah, Lia can disappear. It took her way too long to figure out that she was disappearing. Like the second time, Lia girl, no one can see you. You disappeared. The guy said he couldn't see you. Why didn't that click sooner? We finally figure out what the commandant's been planning this whole time. We fell right into her trap. She was secretly acquiring her own army. She wants to be empress. The Nightbringer is like the father of all jinns. He's the most powerful of all. A lot of upsetting things happened in this book, but the most upsetting by far was when Helene got back to tell the emperor that the commandant was planning a coup and didn't come back with Elias. She had to choose Elias or get back in time to warn the emperor about a coup. But she comes back and Marcus doesn't even care that she has come with this information. And then the commandant just appears and Helene is just crushed. How the hell did you get here before me? It's like a nightmare come to life. Commandant tells everyone Helene is just crazy and she's just making up a story so she doesn't have to kill Elias. And then they bring out her family and everything is the worst. I was listening to this at the mall. It was so upsetting. I am in hysterics. Just like snot and tears running down my face. That broke me. It was the worst. It was brutal. Watching her family members get murdered one by one. Son of a bitch. Elias is like trying to get Darren out. Darren's alive and Koff is on fire and he collapses. And at the end of that chapter, the soul catcher's like, welcome Elias. You're dead. Let's talk about the fucking warden. This creepy ass mother asshole. If you listen to the audiobook, his voice is so uncomfortable. Every time he spoke, I was like, ugh, ugh. He's a great character. We get such a good sense of who he is and what he's about from perspectively the little that we see of him. And then we have Tess, who is the child that works in the prison. The way the actor voiced Tess, he sounded just like Dobby. So I picture Tess as like a house elf child hybrid because he sounds just like Jim Dale voicing Dobby. I couldn't help but laugh sometimes because it was like, is this Dobby or is this a child? You know, when Jim Dale does Hermione, like Jim Dale is excellent. He has this one voice. It's just kind of off. It doesn't exactly fit the character and it's hilarious. And that's Hermione. If you've listened to any of the Harry Potter audiobooks, you know. Really quick, back to the cook. I don't remember this happening in the previous book, but she was killed by the commandant or killed by someone. But she's alive, obviously. What is she? That also adds to the idea that she is Laya's mom, because this makes it hard for you to be killed if you ever touched it. You survive a lot longer than you really should have. I feel like if she isn't Laya's mom, she at one point had possession of a piece of the silver of the scholars that imprisoned the djinn. Because why is she still alive? And then supposedly she killed a mask? How the hell did she kill a mask? I need answers. I need a cook backstory. Oh my god, that scene in the beginning where Helene listens in on the Nightbringer and the Commandant having a little chat, and then afterward the Nightbringer is like, hey singer, were you listening? And she's like, yeah, I'm Bloodstrike. I can listen if I want to. And he's like, you have powers. You should train with someone. And Helene's like, are you offering? And he's like, maybe sometime in the future if I have a free second when I've finished my genocide, we can schedule a tutoring session. That creeped me out. The Nightbringer is an interesting villain character. He takes on the form of these humans, and it's so believable that these humans have these emotions, that Keenan was in love with Laya, that Keenan had actual feelings for Laya. Do those feelings stay with him? Is he in part all these different people he's been throughout the years as he's tried to gather all the silver pieces? It feels like they have feelings. If they were once good, they must have some sort of feelings, you know? They must have some sort of morality going on inside their consciences. But then you also have to weigh that with the idea that they live forever. And usually you're pretty jaded when you live forever, i.e. vampires, fae. And a lot of times we call the djinn fae in this book, right? Didn't Elias keep calling a shaver / the soul bringer djinn in between lady a fae? Didn't he keep saying fae? I feel like I heard that. We're led to believe that these creatures have a conscience. So what does this mean? You know, like, what does this mean for the next time Nightbringer and Laya see each other? Is he gonna be like, girl, I love you? Like, is that a thing? Why doesn't the Nightbringer know what she is? Why doesn't he just think it's the same as Helene's with her power? What is this? What's going on? I need to know more background. He's an all-powerful djinn. You'd think he'd seen this before in his a million years on Earth. Why is he so surprised? Also, when we put all these silver pieces back together again, what do they form? What will it be? How many pieces are there? How many pieces does he already have? Will the djinn eventually be released into the world and we're gonna have to capture them again? Oh my god, how annoying was that scene when Elias finally broke out of his cell, broke into Darren's, and Darren was like, yeah, right! You know my sister. If I know anything, she would never trust you. And I was like, can you not right now? Oh yeah, it's called the waiting place, not the in-between place. Soul catcher, not soul bringer. We get a lot of the classic, we can't be together because I'm eventually gonna die stuff going on with Elias and Laya in this book, which was, not gonna lie, frustrating. That happens way too often for my liking. Like, usually when you find out you're gonna die, you start living, but he's like, oh, I'm gonna die soon, so might as well just die now. We shouldn't be together at all, ever. Where is the logic? In this book, Laya starts getting involved in the fights more, and she's not trained or anything, but she always manages to get the better of them because she sure as hell can throw dirt in your face. Classic. Classic Laya. If I ever end up in a fight I don't want to be in, I'm just gonna pull a Laya. The poor man's expecto patronum. Oh, this is important to remember. The soul catcher can physically hurt a human that's still alive in the human world. Like there's this moment where Elias gets sucked into the in-between with his seizures, and she's like, don't make me hurt you. And he's like, you can't hurt me. I'm still alive. And she touches his arm, and it's a bleeding, blistering wound when he wakes up in the human world. The fudge. So now Elias has that ability, so he can injure people in the real world. Right in this moment, Darren and Laya are in the forest where Elias works, so he can come in and out. It's in his realm. Are they gonna stay there forever? Like, how long are we planning to chill with Elias in the forest? And what are we gonna do without Elias? Like, are we gonna figure out how to free Elias before we even leave the forest? Are we gonna like train like Batman with Elias in the depths of the forest? Why don't the spirits ship Elia? What is that about? They finally kiss at the end of the book, and the spirits are like, ew, and physically pain Elias because he had 1 second of happiness with Laya. If you don't want that PDA, take your ghost asses out of the area and give them some privacy. If they'd kissed inside the house, would it have been okay? What are the rules? Why did that happen? Is the soul catcher not allowed to find love and happiness? I didn't hear that in the creepy ass contract you signed. We also get this random reference to a soul, a woman in the in-between soul-catching realm who's been looking for someone for 10 years. That's gotta be relevant. Who is this? Is it one of Elias' parents? Is it Elias' dad? That's what I just jumped to for everything. It has to be either Elias' parents or Elias' parents. Who is it? Oh my god, I completely forgot to talk about Izzy dying. I cried when Izzy died. That was very upsetting. And it's because Laya insisted on housing these random rebels. We learned that Elias's pinky finger or his thumb twitches when he lies. The warden is a complete freak and sees things like that. I couldn't believe that moment when the warden was talking to Helene and he was like, what do you think about Laya? Say her name aloud. And all Helene did was say Laya, and the warden's like, jealousy, a hint of possessive protectiveness. What the? I loved hearing these words of wisdom that would come into Elias's brain that his grandfather has told him when he's fighting. A fool speaks during a fight. A warrior takes advantage of it and attacks when he's in prison. Another old saying from his grandfather comes into his mind. Only a jackass believes in coincidence. Beautifully put, grandfather. I'm very happy we murdered the warden. It was a very Harry Potter, Battle of Hogwarts sort of death for me. This just added to the house elf image of the children and cough. All the kids ran at him with little knives and kicked and stabbed and bit him. It was just like the house elves, the Battle of Hogwarts. And that was a torch against the night. Now Helene and her sister are planning their vengeance on Marcus, and I cannot wait for that to happen. It's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be the best. Helene's gonna be empress. That is where she's headed. We have to find a cure for Elias. We've got to find someone to switch him out with. Who will volunteer as tribute and take his place as soul catcher for the next 1,000 years? And we've got to nurse Darren back to health so that all the scholars can learn how to make blades that stand a chance against the mask's blades and all that jazz. I am excited. I love to hear your favorite part. If you cried, thank you so much for watching. I'm Christine. I'm at XTINEMAY on Twitter and Instagram. All my links are in the description below. I make videos every Tuesday. I will see you next time. Goodbye! The second book in SABAA. Oh my god. I'm afraid this is gonna fly off.